morning from the Hostage Diaries. Today I'm going to talk about programming pertaining to values and what actually is derived from these diamond drill bits, as you would. Basically, the ability to penetrate, call them permeable membranes, where you can penetrate the vault walls using that. And this is what I'm trying to generate. I'm explaining theoretically what's going on while trying to generate motive, uh, and trying to understand the necessity of it. See, it goes back to they decided they wanted to screw. Their name is Buck, and they like to fuck, and I just happen to be the prime candidate for getting screwed because I have value. Well, you can call it whatever you want. Boys are going to be boys. See, they teach me lessons. So, yeah, I was a bit of a wild child back there, like American Graffiti or Dazed and Confused. But they were going, the one with the value, if you want to lynch somebody, you lynch the person that's worth billions and billions of dollars. Let everybody else, it don't matter, go out and party, who gives a, but for our reverent cosmetics, we gonna lynch them with the guys that are worth billions and billions of dollars. That's just smart. It's like the rest of the world. Oh, sure, they got their political prisoners. The USA, the efficient way to utilize political prisoners is you get the really, really valuable ones. You got to protect the herd. You want to protect the herd. So it's basically like killing a fucking cop so you can do whatever the fuck you want. We don't like to pay the goddamn bill, so we gonna knock over the bank. Or we gonna hold up the bank. Because we don't want to pay. We think we want to emancipate. That's what it is about. Emancipation. Free loot. We gonna who let the dogs out? They go have the party as a diversion tactic. We want to open that vault door so we can walk in and let all our buddies and party till the world ends, or whatever. It's killing a fucking cop, basically. That's all it is. They didn't like the law, so we're going to kill the motherfucking cop because we want to be free, And then anything that's resistance, oh, they terrorists, We killed the motherfucking cop, but they trying to stop us, but they terrorists, because we got the freedom. So, what this all goes back to is basically the drill bit. It's like a drill bit. And a very high value. You want something, it's like that key maker from the Matrix. Oh, this guy can make a key to anything. So yeah, that's our hostage, that's our franchise player. And you're gonna get every red cent out. I mean, you're gonna be extreme coupon cheap. That's what it's all about, trying to be efficient or whatever you want to call it. Come up with some. I mean, it's really insane to watch the games to try to justify the horrific mismanagement of what's going on. So I'm going to use. It's like you find an old house. This is what's going on. This is atypical of what's going on everywhere, and we're attached here. I'm unable to do anything. I should be able to protect myself, but no, I'm dragged around on a leash, because Massa got to get his money worth out of me. He ain't finished screwing me yet, so Massa got to finish screwing me. So we get a house, and I'm the key, or me, my sister, any of my blood relatives, we're keys. We unlock vaults, global assets, because of St. Louis Cathedral, theoretically, of course. Or there's all number of ways. That and there's a tie between there's several ties, but theoretically we are very high value keys or drill bits, and we can get, and so anybody that wields us, it's like, ooh, magic, because of but we're unable to emancipate ourselves. We're not allowed to be independent, because we're worth too much we got to protect the mob by any means necessary. So we've got to figure out what's going on, and so they stack the deck. They don't just want to, and this isn't about oil. This is about screwing. This is about maximize angles of exploitation. They don't want, this isn't about driving a car. This is about how can we screw the best? That's what it's all about. How far can we push it? The gray area. This is all about the angles of exploitation. So you get a mine, and we're going to use an old house from the 1860s. It's right here a block away from a historically famous Catholic cathedral. This actually used to be a convent for nuns. So, hey, that's got some magic nun power there. So that ought to get you some nice angel ass right there. Boy, you ought to get some nice angel snatch out of this mine. So, you see, then you pile it on of what it's worth, But you really need the high value keys. It would be like, well, yeah, we've got a chemistry set. We got a bunch of, quartz, or we got all these different chemicals, but we're going to throw a little bit of radiation into there to up it. We're going to juice it. We want it juiced. So they're going to up the value. So we're like radiation, basically. So we radiate the value. It just expands the valuation exponentially. And you can see it in any number of metaphorical ways of what it actually is. But it's the manipulation of the chemistry. Magic, the voodoo magic. But it's the hostage's necessity, because they wanted to screw. They didn't want to pay. This isn't about business. This is nothing. This is a motherfucking hold up. Stick them up. Knocked over a bank. And now it's about getting away with it. And so they bought a ton of politicians. They bought a ton of judges. They bribed a ton of lawyers and cops. Now it's just party. It's a party. It's given out, and that's what it's all about. Like the Godfather, time has allowed them to use my assets to buy judges. They bought politicians. They bought the law in order to legalize the criminal action of what's going on, to make this accounting sham justified, So they got to attach high-value people to it. It's like surround yourself with high-value people in order to seem to be one of the crowd, to justify it, to hide all the loot. But in reality, it's like, well, you bet your life. It goes back to the Beverly Hillbillies, well, they were shooting at a rabbit, and they shot us, basically, and then but it's not a well. It's really they knocked over a bank. It's like, well, somebody knocked us over the fucking head and put us in a coma, lost our senses, and we're in a knocked out amnesia. Anytime we try to escape, it's, our family's on cheap leashes, threatened with guns to our heads anytime we try to do anything. I'm trying to manufacture. My motive is I want to try to put together all the clues, the evidence, form a case to manufacture some tangible proof, but I ain't allowed any resources. What's the motive there, huh? Well, you got to ensure and protect the scams, because they done, it's kind of like they've done it so long now. And I honestly didn't have I had some ideas, but I had no idea how deep it was going. And, just beyond all comprehension of what's going on in these games, these stupid games. It's like Tron. They cut, it's cutting you off. Interception, hack. But we're talking about literally malicious criminal intent. And the real motive is handicap and cheat because of captivity. It's like, I can't even hire a competent staff. That right there is a handicap. I'm JV for high school Texas JV golf for life, 10 cup, I can't ever get beyond 10th grade. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm worth $1 billion, but oh no, we ain't gonna let you. We got guns to your fucking head. What do you call that? Guns to your head. Oh, that's fair game right there. Bullshit. It's a fucking bank robbery. That's what it is. It is a bank robbery, and they bought some fucking judges. They bought some politicians, and it's a cover-up now, and they try to hide it as oil. But like I said, this has nothing to do with oil and minerals. I'm talking about the angles of screwing, how much can you manipulate the value? It's like a product. Well, what's that plastic chair really? We took some oil, we made a plastic chair. What's that plastic chair really worth? Well, if we got a high value hostage, it's worth a lot. That's called voodoo, in my estimation. That's about the worst form of, because you're relying upon hostages. You can call it a zoo all you want, but hey, to make that plastic chair seem like it's jewelry, then it's got, it just doesn't make sense. It's like if we lived on if we had a vineyard estate, that would be competent business. Oh yeah, we're happy to be a part of, but no, they want to Jew down cheap skateboard thrashing, they want cheap, they want to screw, they want to prove they're strong bargainers or what, or is it because negotiations with, this isn't, it really is, just the worst thing you could ever imagine, because it seems like the competition is like Comiskey. How cheap can you get it? I'm actually paying billions and billions of dollars to be a slave and sit on the bench. To be water boy, Mr. Dean's water boy. I'm paying billions and billions, and then it's cosmetics, beautician, beauty school, make everything pretty. That's the biggest bunch of bull I ever seen in my fucking life. So, it's Scrooge. It's the creative loophole accounting. That's what it's all about. So, you got this mine. We don't just want the mine. We want to make it's alchemy. We want to turn clay into platinum. And we want to get our money. That's what it's all about. So, it's like pile on the values. You gotta turn it's enhancing the value of the product. And beyond, as far as its magic, its magic ability or something like that, in order to justify creating wealth. So it's not just about oil. Well, the oil industry, great, but it's the manipulation of the values that are the problem. It's like it's getting the most bang for your buck, but when it's so far past criminal, you can't even imagine how far it's gone. I mean, it's like Special K. It's beyond. It's just how far can we take it? It's when you. The problem is, it's like betters. We can do better. Annie got your gun. I'm better than you. We're going to figure a way to prove that we are better than you so we can keep the loot that we stole. It's a competition to be better. They think it's poker, but no. I mean, literally, all it is an armed robbery. I mean, I'm a holdup. I've been held up for how many years? How many billions of dollars picked from my pocket? Well, it's keys. They're using me to dig into it. It's the most archaic thing possible. But it's like you take this one and you attach all these parameters. It's like, so what mines do you want to dig into? It's like teleportation wormholes through these mines. A well or a mine is a teleportation wormhole into a vault globally. That's basically what it is. It might be it might not be as modern a vault. So you're going to call, if it's not state of the art, it's crude, that's the way it goes. Crude is basically anything, it can be deemed anything, or natural gas. I mean, natural, it's the manipulation to access assets and then produce cash. See, from from the resources, they're producing a ton of cash. That's another reason I'm a hostage. I'm the bank. I'm like the money validator. I give it that seal of approval for free. You know, a slave-free seal of approval. You know, they put all they drip some of my blood to make it real. That's what I'm for. True blood. You know, I'm the seal of approval. This thumbprint. You know, I'm the bloody thumbprint on whatever. My massa want me to put my thumbprint on to give them that key to make it real. You know, to validate it, to bona fide. And it's just beyond incomprehensible. And so because they screwed us, now we have to be kidnapped zoo slaves. Because now my family, see, now then they even, the manipulation is, well, we're going to use the church as a weapon against. So now the problem is they all because of all these con games. They wanted to be low prices, you know. They wanted the cheap Jew-down skateboard thrashing. So they wanted the daredevil, evil Knievel jackasses wanted to be cheap. So now you got all these weddings. And now, because they know that they screwed us, they really screwed us because they wanted to be cheap. You know, they wanted to be cheap skateboarders. Rather than, you know, it's like the Duke boys, or they don't want to pay the revenue is nothing. I mean, this has nothing to do. This is fucking armed robbery is what it is. They just think it's this stupidity of something for nothing, you know, to think, oh, we are creator. We got something for nothing, so we must be a bona fide creator. Woo! That's another mark on my headstone, you know. I mean, so now you got all these con job weddings through the church. And all these churches, they know, because they're going to prove they are strong, because but see, then you got the hierarchy of the communion, the validators and all that stuff. So then the churches are used because they screwed us, that they're used to keep these weddings bona fide. You know, oh, what a crop. I mean, really. So that right there, all the con job amnesia shotgun weddings are now used to keep us in the zoo because they wanted to screw. You know, they wanted to. You call it whatever you want, but it's basically an armed robbery. All it is armed robbery. When you're worth $1 billion and we're not even allowed to negotiate, it's not even, no negotiations here. It's all these bullshit it's these loan sharks and bookie deals, you know? It's the nod and the wink and the con hand job and all this, these, you know, symbology, all this bull. It's bull. I want to audit the whole thing. I want to see everything. I want every penny accountability audit. But no, they're terrified of that. The mob is terrified of opening the books because they know who they're screwing. So now it's desperate. And now they use the healthcare because they screwed up so bad. And then that's why I'm dragged around the high value areas on a short leash, because they want to get them some accomplices. They want some high dollar pro bono accomplices. So I've been dragged around on a short leash. I'm screaming left and right for years and years now. But so basically, by doing nothing, it's validating the con. So by basically leaving me kidnapped by the mob is what they're doing. By locking me out, they're validating the mob's whole, and therefore the mob what it's for is the good. See, the high value assets that are being conned are losing their international credibility. See, most normals that handle me don't care about internationals. They don't they care. They're low, you know, think local. They don't care. It's the high value that thinks international. The international, they're drilling into international assets. The local mobs are drilling. They're trying to they're at Spanish asset. See, through this house, they're drilling into France. They're drilling into Spain. They're drilling into Italy. They're drilling into England. They're drilling into all of Russia. So they're trying to drill into bank vaults and jewel vaults through me using the keys. And not to mention Latin America. So then the locals who are doing all this drilling, the wildcatters, the roughnecks, the JV roughnecks, they are screwing the big dogs. So then it's kind of like, well, now we're all part of the country club, because they decided they didn't want to pay their bit. They didn't want to paint it. They wanted to call everything a mine or a well. And, so it's basically a slaughterhouse. So now I warned them too. I said, hey, look, they're trying to screw you by dragging me around and I called it a complacent gamble. By doing nothing, you're allowing the mob to do all this nefarious business. It tarnishes the whole, it's a lot of dirty money. It's what it is. It's dirty money. Really bad. It's a black hole. The black hole sun. Chris Cornell sang about black hole sun years ago. It's an implosion, negative reinforcement, destroying light, positive energy. That's where you get into the whole, well, spin doctors would call it walking dead, whatever you might want to. But it really, what's going on is poaching. It's some high-value poaching. They want to kill the top. It's like that Occupy movement. That's really what's going on. What they want to do is I think they want to, you've got it's like the 1 to 10%, and then you got the 10 to 20%. So I think what happens is you've got a cutoff point there where they want to kill the top. Like me, I'm used as an example. They want to definitely kill all. It's like killing the cops. I shot the sheriff, Bob Marley. They want to kill all the sheriffs. So they can get their buddies in there, so they can validate so they can get an upgrade, upgrade to the pit house. That sort of mentality. So they want to kill a bunch of the big law. They want to kill the lions and tigers and bears, and then move in it's basically like Animal House, or Animal Farm, 1984, or Animal Farm's going to project into V for Vendetta or 1984 in my estimation. But basically, you're trying to cut off the head but it's just going to be a never-ending cycle. That's the stupidity of it. Because the system is just really, really corrupt. So basically what's going on is you've got the Animal House, Animal Farm, trying to kill all the top levels. And they're using me as the weapon. And because it's getting a lot worse right now. So they're using weapons and the church is a weapon, healthcare is a weapon, sports is a weapon, industry's a weapon, everything's a weapon. But basically what they're trying to do, in my estimation, is kill off the top and redistribute. That's not just the Occupy movement. They're occupying my family, which sets the precedence all over the globe. And so, therefore, it's setting the precedence. It just doesn't make any sense. And then it's all these deflector games, these stupid Tron sort of games. It's just beyond all sorts of justification. And it's just, there's no real need. Basically, it's an unwilling to admit they were wrong. They've gambled on building this up. They're not willing to admit that they were wrong. And so they don't want to pay their bills. It's just, we're not going to give you, they want us as hostages or slaves or whatever. They just don't want to pay, they're going to try to do anything they can to try to divert the power from us. It's like distribution of power, into a bunch of different channels, whatever it may be. And now they're trying to extreme worship of the politicians, which isn't going to fly, because that's basically what's going on now. So now what they want is, the USA are atheists. They don't believe in where they came from, but they use the power. It's like, they want to be independent of what they are, but they want to use the power. So what they're trying to do now is worship the system as creator. It's like they want to keep it, they don't want to redistribute wealth, but they want to pool all the genes. You know, they want all these pooled genes, but the wealth stays different. The blood don't matter. Blood is worthless, and you know it's a slaughterhouse. You know, ground beef. You know, who cares about the meat? What the wallets stay the same. Once you got the money, it's good. You know. So now what they want is then it creates, but it doesn't really make any sense. And we got screwed because we never knew. I never had it. You know, I was insider trading sabotage from the very, very beginning. You know, I wanted to make an example of us from the beginning, but now they're trying to shift power. That's why you've got this extremely leaning towards um, populist-driven vanity and individual, and that's also why the whole economic global system's going off a cliff. Because that's the only way they can control it is through. I think what's going to happen eventually is there's going to end up being a second round of slavery. You're going to have masters and you're going to have slaves. It's going to be like everybody owes $250,000 to the system. If you can't afford to buy your way out of slavery, like Schindler's List, you're going to be a slave. It's going to be a nicer way. You're not, you know, it's not going to be the kind of the old. But basically, there's going to be slave and master again, in my estimation. I think that's what we're definitely going towards. It's the only answer, and that's the only way to explain it. But for the most part, it's about control. They're right now allowing population to drive it off a cliff. And then, but see, it's going to end up in revolution. Before it goes into slavery, they're going to burn it. It's going to be just the dragon burning everything down, you know, riots and mass chaos. They're trying to pull the Fight Club thing where everybody starts fighting and they blow up and restart over. It's a dine and dash. But, oh, it's just because they wanted to be cheap. It's all started because they wanted to be massa, you know. They wanted to prove they were tough. When history looks back at how stupid this is, and it goes back to when I uninvited that kid named TL, which in turn probably caused the divorce of my parents, and so that's why it's such an important issue in my theoretical estimation. That's why you see the Thelma and Louise, the Tommy Lee, you know, that's why they're erasing my existence. It's the dumbest thing in the history of the world, you know, but then again, it really is. It's this kind of thing where the line item veto, the VIPs are not allowed to line item veto the terrible judgment. You know, the line item veto, the $1 billion is not able to line item veto the terrible judgment.